Next up, we are going to go to Saints and Vikings. Quarterbacks, Derek Carr against Josh Dobbs. Seen a lot of Josh Dobbs love. I am not sold. 20th best matchup for Dobbs. I don't want to play him against the Saints pass defense. Derek Carr, 11th best matchup. I don't mind playing him. I suspect they're both in the same range of my rankings, outside of the top 12, but inside the top 16. Having said that, I have Carr at 13. I have Dobbs at 17. So I think Carr is probably borderline QB1. I might even move him up. I've got Russell Wilson ahead of him. I've got Geno ahead of him. Derek Carr has just moved up to QB11 for me. So that's
I have Dobbs one spot ahead of Carr. And it's just like, the weird thing is, like, I just trust the rushing production is what it is. Like, that's when I'm doing these two quarterbacks and someone who's a rusher. Dobbs has 7 attempts his last 4 games at a minimum. Like, I'm going to bank on that. The weird thing with Dobbs, though, like, it was the first game, but there was reads he was completely missing. He should have been taking as a quarterback that he saw and he just chose not to throw it to. And I think that was just his uncertainty with the playbook and stuff, because they were literally telling him plays and like positions and everything last week. So yeah, I just trust Dobbs over Carr, and it can burn you. We've seen it before, but like that rushing upside, I'm going to target that over Derek Carr personally. But I don't mind, like you're saying, Derek Carr this week either. Like I'll start either one of them.
All right. I think I'm more of a start Dobbs in Superflex only. I could see starting Carr in single QB though. Moving on to running back. Excuse me. I can't burp. I come home and I chug down my lunch and my drink at on my lunch here. So then I get on the show and I'm burping the whole damn time because I've just tried to chug my I've speed eating my lunch. So
Right.
7th worst matchup for Alvin Kamara. I do not give a damn. I am starting him as I almost guarantee without looking a top 6 matchup.
Yeah.
7th worst matchup for Madison. He, for like the 4th week in a row, is my Fantasy Pros sit of the week. I have Kamara at 4. I'm going to move Kamara up. No, 4. Never mind. Kamara at 4. I have Madison at 21. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fair. Like what we saw last week is Jamal Williams actually was earning early down work. So like I think we can, like Hayden Links was talking about this. Like you're gonna have to lower him a little bit, but he's still an RB1. Like he's a mid to like a late RB1 moving forward. So like he's still elite. He's just not the overall RB1 anymore, and that makes sense. And if you really need like a volume play, like go get Madison. It's been okay. I just don't trust anyone else in that backfield, like Chandler or Gaskin.
Yeah.
Like they're just not threats to him. So.
The problem
it's likely ugly though.
It's hugely inefficient volume, and it's going to be even more inefficient against the Saints, who also don't allow all that many rushing touchdowns, which is kind of what's been saving him.
Yeah, like he got that touchdown against Atlanta last week. That's what saved him. It's a similar thing. Like otherwise, he'll give you between like 8 or 10 points more than likely.
Moving on to wide receiver, it gets interesting. 7th best matchup for Olave. I want to play him probably as a top 15 or 20. He's probably a wide receiver 2 for me. I don't mind Thomas as a wide receiver 3 if you need a safe play. Shaheed as a wide receiver 3 if you need a ceiling play, but can risk it. The Vikings are where it gets interesting. It's the 20th best matchup, so not great. Addison, I think, is a low-end to high-end wide receiver 2. Justin Jefferson, I think, could play in this one. I think unless I really have to, I'd like to leave him on my bench for 1 week, especially in this matchup. So if I had to rank these 5, I'm going Olave, Addison, Jefferson, Thomas, Shaheed. What do you think?
Yeah, like I'm going to have Olave and Addison ahead of Jefferson. Like I'm just going to have him on the bench and see how it works. But like if I start getting into the Shaheed area or the Osborne, I'll play Jefferson over those guys. Just because if he's going to play and he's going to be active, he's going to be on the field. And he'll probably be like not the full route share that he's going to run, but he'll be running enough routes. And he's Justin Jefferson, right? But ideally, I just want to keep him on the bench and see how it goes. And then before
there's always the possibility he's just a decoy.
Yeah, they do that.
Or he gets out there. Even more likely, I guess, is he gets out there and because what was a hamstring, right? He gets out there, makes one great big stretch, and goes, "Oh, maybe I'm gonna, sit this one out and come back next week." So
yeah, they'll give him a designated amount of routes and stuff, but like it's not gonna be full time.
This is the old Julio Jones rule. Until I see one healthy week from in return from a soft tissue injury, I don't want any part of it. Tight ends, bottom 12 matchup for Hawkinson. Don't care. I'm starting him as a top 3 option. Top 12 matchup for Taysom Hill. I am starting him, I believe, I think he's my 3 or my 4. Taysom Hill's my 4. Taysom Hill is my 4. TJ Hawkinson is my 3. These are my must starts. That's terrifying. Just truly terrifying. Kicker, 8th best matchup for Groupie. 12th for Joseph. I far prefer Groupie, even though he's been struggling of late. I don't think you probably roster either of these guys, and you probably don't need to add them. But if you're in a desperate situation, you can start either of them. Just don't expect much. Top 10 matchup for the Saints. I'm very comfortable firing them up. Bottom 10 matchup for the Vikings. They are a desperate play for me. I'm going to check my rankings. I have the Saints at 14 because, like I said, it's a big old clusterfuck. And what am I doing here? I think I mixed these two up on my rankings. I have the Saints at 16. They should be at 4. And I have the Vikings at 4, who should be at 16. So, sorry, what I meant was I have the Saints at 4 and the Vikings at 16, but somehow I put the two of them in reverse because that's what I do.
Hey, happens sometimes. We all do there. Yeah, interestingly enough, like Taysom Hill's the tight end 1 the last month. So yeah, you're firing up Taysom Hill. I get it. It's weird. It caps Kamara a little bit, but like you roll Taysom Hill until it burns you, until it changes. Like it's absurd usage what they're doing with him.
He's also in my sit start article, and then I noted that over the last month he has a rushing, passing, and receiving touchdown, and that you should bench him this week because I've decided to make him my start this week. And Taysom Hill, despite having a jersey and him being at one point one of my favorite players, he burns me every time I do this. So let's just assume that Taysom Hill is going to drop a dud. Let me start him this week. You guys all sit him because he's going to, right in the pooper.
It'll happen at some point. It's going to come crashing down. It always does with him.
It always does.